then I did that for about 2 years until I thought now it was time to go and do my master's. Yeah. So this 2 years job for me, I feel like it was double, like 4 years of experience.
Yes.
Because I was doing so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
So did you quit? Or tell us how that process was.
Yeah, so I applied, of course, to the school.
While you were still working, or you quit your job?
No, while I was still working, I was doing applications.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't quit before you have something on the table.
Yes.
So I was doing applications, and I got into a school. I got into a number of schools actually at the time.
Yes.
And then also I tried to look for scholarships. Unfortunately, I didn't get any full scholarship, but I got a partial scholarship from the school that I wanted to go to, which is the University of Stirling, which is where I ended up doing. Yeah. So once I got that, the offer letter, and my parents were capable of catering for the other portion. I went to my boss, and so I resigned. So I resigned and I applied for the visa.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the visa didn't come through. I was denied. Now, this was heartbreaking because I only wanted to do my master's. I wanted to go at that particular point. I had resigned from my job. So it was sad, but then I thought, okay, what am I going to do for the next 1 year? So I decided, let me call my boss, Andia, and tell her that my visa was denied and see if she can take me back.
Yes. So
I called her and I told her, and she said I could go back. Yeah, so I had to resign my resignation.
You called back your boss. You know, I really want us to just focus on that a bit, or just internalize and reflect on that. You know, how many of us, when we are leaving our jobs, do not burn our bridges? That you're able to pick up the phone and say, you know what I was going to do did not quite work out. Can I come back? Yeah. So I feel like there's a lesson there of not burning our bridges. Yeah. And also that proactivity of being able to call, you know, your former boss and tell them you want to come back. Because sometimes we give up. We're like, gosh, now whatever I was going to do has not worked out. I resigned, and then you start sulking. So there's also that bit of proactivity. Yes, go ahead. Yeah,
and also my thought process at the time was that, okay, it's easier for me to call somebody who already knows me than for me to start from scratch looking for something else. And what's the worst that could happen? She says no. And then I look for something else. Yeah.
You know, and your network really is your net worth. Yeah. Now that is not just a statement. I think we're also seeing it. You know, your network is your network because of that relationship you built with her. They were able to call you back or to accept you back. Yeah. Okay. So you went back.
So I went back. Worked for another year. She was very gracious. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry about what happened. Yeah. You can try Canada. I guess what you're gonna do. But also I think for me I didn't want to tell her that I was interested in going anymore. Yeah. Because once your employer also feels that you're outside the door, then they're a bit jittery, you know. They're like, okay, she's only here for a short time, she actually wants to leave. So I knew I wanted to leave, but I tell her no, I'm just gonna work now. I don't even want to do my masters anymore. I'll think about it. So I continued working. Of course, I was also distraught, and honestly, I felt like giving up. But I tried to apply again for the visa. Already, I had the offer letter, so this time it's easier, right? The UK gives you reasons why they didn't give it to you. So they said that the money wasn't there for enough time. So this time we were just like, okay, let's keep the money somewhere for enough time, and then let's see. Then I got it, and then I left.
So why was it really important for you to go abroad? Were there no universities in Kenya that could offer, you know, the masters you're looking for?
Yes and no at the same time. So yes, there are no universities that could offer the masters I wanted to do in Kenya. I did a master's in investment analysis. It's not in Kenya. It's not in Africa. Maybe you can get finance and investment. So that was of course a contributing factor. But even if I was to do something else like masters in finance, going abroad was important because of the exposure I knew I would get there. When you travel, this is my mindset. I think it really opens up your mind to meet other people from other different countries with different cultures, see how they think, how is it different from yours? It makes you question all your ideologies, your beliefs. It makes you grow as a person. If you're looking at whatever field that you're in, of course, other markets are more developed than African markets. I also wanted to go there, see what those markets have, and then bring it back home, because I wanted to come back home. So that's a reason why I wanted to do my master's abroad. And also it's 1 year. Kenya, it's 2 years.
It's 2 years.
So cut the time in half.
Yeah. I'd like you to also speak to that person, who does not have the capability of going abroad. Which other ways can they get exposure?
Yeah. One, I would like to debunk the myth that anyone doesn't have a capability to go abroad. Let's start from there. Fine, in my case, I didn't get a full scholarship, so my parents catered for the other portion. But there are so many scholarships that you can apply to. I think, for me, maybe I could have been more patient. If my parents couldn't, I would have tried more. I would have looked for more scholarships. I would have gone to Germany, for example, where education is almost zero, So I think, first of all, try and explore all other opportunities, all other countries. But if all fails, how you can get exposure, in my opinion, is one, reading. Reading makes you learn about cultures or other experiences from other people, or if it's in your field, you can read and see that in the US they have derivatives, for example, which is a finance term which doesn't exist in Kenya. What is that about? We have the internet, you can watch videos, there's YouTube, there's Skillshare, there are all these platforms that you can use where you can learn information about whatever you're interested in, or get exposure in whatever you need. And also go for conferences. Those international speakers, those lecturers come to Kenya and attend conferences that are held in whatever field that you have. So go for those conferences, check them out. There's Meta, which organizes different speakers who come in and speak about different things in entrepreneurships in different fields. Join those kind of communities. So there's so much wealth of knowledge now that we have the internet. We're lucky, we're millennials, we have that. Let's explore it.
So now you've gone to Scotland, University of Stirling. How was the experience there?
It was amazing. I always say that's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. It was also very hard in terms of the fact that the course is only 1 year or 9 months, because 3 months you're doing your dissertation. It was very intense and full time. But it was amazing in the sense that you get to meet so many people from so many different countries, and just listening to them, how they speak, being in a class where you're, giving opinions, giving different experiences from your countries, just interacting and seeing that, at the end of the day, we are all the same. Getting new friends, challenging my own beliefs about different things. So it was great in the end. But it was also a lot of work because there's a lot of late nights reading and doing assignments till like 2 a.m. in the morning. But also when I was there, I tried to do other things. I was class representative for some of my classes. What else did I do? I also engage with other people and just get a mentorship as well within my class. At the same time, And in this time, finally, I got my distinction. Which is the highest possible grade you can get in the UK.
Finally.
So finally,
how
I
was
met my
that
potential.
for you?
It was amazing. It was. I can't even explain. I can't put it into words. I just felt like I came full circle. Finally,
like
and
you reached your potential.
I reached my potential. I can see that now.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
So you came back to Kenya. Job hunting. Tell us.
Hey. So coming back to Kenya, the way, like you are told all the time, Kenya, hakuna kazi. So for me, when I was in the UK, so this is 3 months to coming back, I already decided to look. So I was applying while in the UK. So coming back, I think in January of 2018, I already had an interview lined up. But also, I wanted to be very intentional about applying for those jobs. In the UK, I think one of the things that I learned, which I think is very different compared to how we do it here in Kenya, is people really prep for interviews. I tried to interview while in the UK just for fun because I really didn't want to stay there and to gain that experience. And people would actually sit down like they're studying for an exam to prep for that. So I gained from that. And then also in terms of our CV, which is one of the reasons why I think many people don't get into the door, how you write your CV. So I can give a few tips, like how long is your CV? It should be, if you can, 1 page, maximum 2 pages.
Mine is almost 4 pages.
Yeah, unless you have like 10 years of experience, your CV shouldn't be that long. Yeah. And then have you listed down your achievements in any job? You shouldn't just be saying, I don't know, I used to lead meetings. Okay, well and good. And so
we copy paste the JD.
But you should say I was able maybe to cut down meetings from 30 minutes to 15. With saving the company time, which they could use to improve productivity, for example. As opposed to saying I used to feed information into QuickBooks, which is a system. You can say I was able to implement a new system in the organization, which was able to increase efficiencies by 95%, something like that. So those are some of the nuggets that I learned from abroad. So coming back, I cleaned out my CV, prepped my LinkedIn as well, clean that out. There are classes you can take to see how your LinkedIn should look like. So I was job hunting. I would literally go to YouTube and search questions they ask in an interview and watch those videos. And then prepare my own answers to those commonly asked questions. I would Google like what questions to ask the interviewer, right? Because they do that. So
you didn't ask about salaries and what perks they have at the beginning of your interviews?
No, I didn't care about salary, funny enough. When I was coming back, I just wanted to get my foot in the door. I felt like if I get my foot in the door, then I can pivot from there. Just need to get a job first.
All right. So did you get a job eventually?
I did. I got a job. Not the job that I want. So I got a job as an assistant in business development in an asset management firm. And I was being paid less than when I left.
How was that for you?
Interesting.
Why did you take the job in the first place?
Because I didn't have anything else. That's one. So why, the way they say a bird in hand is worth more than two in the bush. I had this offer. It was in the industry I wanted anyway. So I knew I could pivot my way, maybe move from BD to investments, take the investment arm, or I could network with people who would then lead me to another different job in what I wanted, or I could work for a year and get a raise, as opposed to sitting at home. Because sitting at home, you're wasting time. You're not getting any experience. So it just makes more sense to take the job.
So now we'd like to understand, how you transitioned from that job that you really actually didn't want to where you are right now.
So it's an interesting journey. When I was at that job, I was still applying for other jobs, right? So while in that job, I was able to secure another job. Maybe a month into that job, I got an offer to go to another company, but it was going to start 6 months from the time when the offer was given, right? So I knew I was working that job 6 months and then I'd move into this company. So this company was in consulting, management consulting, which is just basically and business advisory. So what you do while in that kind of industry is that you advise businesses, companies, SMEs, NGOs, international DFIs on basically what to do or how to improve their processes, their systems, strategize, etc., etc. It was a great opportunity. and I thought I would gain so much from it, right? So I did the BD job for 6 months and then moved into consulting.
Yeah.
And consulting was amazing, but it was very draining as well. So you have long hours, very many late nights, very high performance driven, a lot of A-star performers who are all trying to compete for promotions. So it's also very.
So you get there and you realize you're not the smartest in that room.
No, remember the way I thought I had so much potential, and I'm so smart.
Yeah.
You get there and you're like, wow, there's so many smart people.
Yes.
Yeah. So you get challenged, which is also great because being in a room where there's smart people, you also grow.
Yes.
They say when you're in your room and you're the smartest, change your room.
Yes.
So yeah. So I did that for about 2 years, gained a lot of experience. While in that company, they train you for a month and then they throw you in the deep end. So you're trained for a month and then they tell you, okay, now this other 2-month part of your training, you're going to meet the client and you have to figure out the problem. They support you by giving you a manager, but you are the client side on your own, right? So that's great experience. And then so I supported the company on my own. They call it practicum at that point. And then I worked on a few consulting projects within the firm. So I did some work in renewable energy. I was doing just basically kind of like analyzing the market of grid energy market in Uganda for this paper that we used to publish every year. I did some work in investments. So just basically mapping out the investments in Eastern and Southern Africa. I did some work in, I would say, agriculture as well. But I think the key learnings from this experience was that they would really throw us into the deep end, and also they supported proactivity. And just basically, if you wanted more, you could ask for more. And if your manager felt safe giving you more, then you got more, right? So at some point, I worked on a project with my manager, just the two of us. Which rarely happened in the firm, but I happened to be in many projects, so it was just me and the manager, which is great because as opposed to having analyst, associate, then manager, or analyst, senior associate, manager, now it's only you and the manager, so it means you have more opportunities, right, that you could grab. And so I ended up at the end of that engagement, I was leading calls with CEOs and directors by myself, so that was a very good. My last engagement was with the company that I'm with now. Yeah, so they had these things called secondment, which is basically where you're sent to a company and you're seconded there to figure out a problem for them or help them figure out how to solve their problem. So I was seconded to this company. It was meant to be a 3 months engagement. I was to go there and fix their financial processes and systems and just put in structure, figure out their reporting for them, create templates for their reporting. So figure out the finance component of the organization. It was 3 months. At the end of the 3 months mark, they chose to extend another 3 months. And then before the 3 months was over, they wanted to poach me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Poaching?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about that. Most of us are still dreaming of being poached.
Yeah, so it was out of this world. I remember going into that opportunity. There's actually a clause in the contract that says for you to be poached, you need to pay some amount of money to the company that you're coming from, right? And for me, I thought this business is too small to be able to pay this kind of money. And for me, like, what's so special about me, right? So when it first came up, first of all, I couldn't believe it. But it was interesting because I was in a position where now I had more power. I think when you're being poached, you have more power to negotiate. So it's a different experience in that sense.
Fiona, what do you think you did differently to lead to this, to lead to the poaching?
Doing more than what is required of you.
Yes.
So my mentor right now, I have a mentor, and there's one thing she told me while I was in the other consulting job, and some people were being fired, let go from the organization. And when I spoke with that experience with her, she told me that always remember that you're indispensable and work to prove that you're not. And I've never forgotten that. Right? This is a transaction at the end of the day. Yeah. So the employer needs to gain value from you.
Yes.
And you also need to gain value from your employer. Right?
Yeah.
So, and you are indispensable. Like you're not the only person who can be in that position.
Yeah.
So what value are you bringing as well to that company?
Yes.
Yeah. You're not just there to get a paycheck. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. You're there to learn, you're there to grow, to get experience, but also bring value to this opportunity that you've been provided for. So that's what I strived to do. Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess it got noticed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So did you accept the offer?
I did.
And you're there now.
And I'm there now.
How different is it being in the C-suite from the other levels?
It's extremely different.
Yeah.
Remember, I kind of like skipped a lot of stages.
Yes.
The traditional way of going into this position is, you start as a junior and then you become, a senior, a bit senior, and then you become a manager, and then you become a senior manager, and then you become C-suite.
So did you accept the offer?
I did. Yeah.
So which position are you poached into?
I was poached into a Group Chief Financial Officer position.
Group?
Yes.
Group Chief Financial Officer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're operating in
East Africa. Yeah, in 5 countries. So
Okay.
Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, and South Sudan.
All right. Again, when you were talking about this, I remember you told me that you had a difficult conversation before you joined.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
So it was hard to have a conversation, but it was necessary.
Yes.
I knew that I wanted to get a family in the near future.
Yes.
So I thought it would be prudent to just mention that to my boss, because of course the organization needs to plan in case of that eventuality, and also for me to just have safety as well. So I mentioned that to him, and we were able to have a discussion on how we can put systems and processes in place such that by the time that that is happening, then I can be able to have my family without having any stress or unnecessary pressure.
Such bravery.
Yeah.
Such bravery.
Yeah.
So, how is the C-suite treating you?
It's challenging. It's very challenging, but it's also exciting.
Yeah.
And thought-provoking, and it's really stretching me.
Yes.
I think it's very different from junior level.
Yes.
Because when you're C-suite level, it's almost like the company is yours, even if it's not, and you're responsible for so many employees or the staff who are below you and look up to you. I think at that level you think more about the company than yourself. I think at a lower level I used to be so detached. You're so detached from what is actually happening. So now you're the one creating those policies, those procedures. Yes, you want to help the staff or give them more benefits, but how does that affect the bottom line? How can you match both? There was a lot of late nights in the beginning, but now there's more work-life balance. Yeah. And it's also very I think interesting to be in that room with people who also have much more experience and learn from that, right? And learn from those conversations, and also I'm trying to push myself to bring value to the table as well. Yeah.
Fiona, thank you so much for honoring us with your presence. There is so much to learn from you, and I definitely like to host you again when the opportunity arises. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome, Carol. I'd be happy to be back.
Okay. But before we finish, I'd like you to just speak to our viewers. Especially the young people. What would you advise, or your words of wisdom be to them?
So my words of wisdom to you would be, 1, nothing good comes easy. For you to get anywhere in life, you have to really work and put yourself out there. That would be 1, and persevere through that process. You need grit, right? You need to work through until you get to the other point, you get to whatever you need to. The second thing I would say is, you never know where every little thing you do will lead you to. Looking back, when I was there, I never thought that if I took this opportunity to be a handbag or walk into this room, it would make me have more confidence, or 7 years later I would be in a room where I need to speak like that. So in whatever place you are, whatever opportunity you get, try and maximize whatever you can from that. And when you look back in future, it will lead you to that dream job that you're looking for.